This is something that I've run into doing the recent recordings for Westerado. And I guess it's a thoughts on gaming, but it's kind of a thoughts on doing Let's Play and gaming. Because, and maybe you noticed this too, the first couple episodes, I might have sounded maybe a little jilted, maybe a little slow, not quite as on point as, well, without tooting my own horn, I usually am. Like, I'm usually pretty quick. The words come easy, the descriptors for the situations that I find myself in and what I'm seeing and the reactions are usually pretty crisp, pretty decent, I'd like to say, or at the very least, they flow quite well, or I do my best to try and make sure that they do. But when I started Westerado, I noticed something that I hadn't felt in quite some time, and I wasn't quite on my A game. I wasn't quite on point. Now, part of that was this is a game that is, not to say that I've never played a game like it, because I have, but I haven't played one like it in some time. So there was a combination of me adjusting to that style again and playing something brand new. And that's always going to be a part of it when you start something for the first time. Like, you haven't played this a little, you don't know the controls, you're jumping headfirst into it, 100% blind. But the other side of it was, and I've talked about this before, I think, the way that I create the videos for the channel, which, because, there's a life outside of YouTube. It does not pay the bills. I try to produce as many as I can so that if I find myself in a situation where I know I'm not going to be able to record that day or even that week, I know that I have enough created and ready to go that it's not going to interrupt the daily upload. It's not going to interrupt that that consistency, that discipline of, okay, Monday to Friday, there will be one. That never gets interrupted, or at least that's the goal. And I've been good about that so far, I think. I can't remember how long I've been sticking to it consistently, but it's been pretty strong, I'd like to say. But there is a downside to that, and this is something that I think you could take to heart for anything if you're looking to do it consistently, not just Let's Plays or YouTube videos, but anything that you treat as a discipline. You need to do it consistently, and you need to stick to it. Now, the funny thing is, I do stick to it consistently in that the schedule is pretty strict. It's every day. For the most part, at 10 in the morning is when I try to schedule it. Or if not at 10, it's going to be up that day, guaranteed. But the fact that I produced quite a few, and then because of outside forces, that makes them sound so supernatural, and they're not, because of work and other outside responsibilities. There's a less sort of ethereal word for them. I wasn't able to do Let's Plays for some time, but I had so many created that it was okay. So from the outside looking in, nothing changed. But for me, I hadn't had a chance to sit down and record for well over a week, which doesn't seem that bad. But you got to think about this. If you're exercising, doing weights, or running, and you do it consistently for, let's say, several months, and then you take an entire week off, that discipline of doing it consistently at specified times that you've scheduled and allotted for them gets trashed. And it becomes very hard to get back into it. Or if it's not hard for you to step back into that routine, the action itself becomes difficult because you haven't done it in a while, so you're not used to it physically and mentally. The strain is a little bit harder because you haven't been doing it consistently. You don't have that tolerance and that endurance built up and that muscle memory, and your body is just trying to figure out exactly how it's supposed to handle this all over again. It's familiar, but it's tougher than it would have been if you'd kept at it consistently. And that's what I found with Westerado, where for the first, and I'm not even going to give myself any leeway. I'd say for the first 4 episodes, I was pretty damn rusty. By the midway of the 4th and then into the 5th, things are starting to get more on point again because, I'm starting to shake off some of that rust, get back into it, put a shine on the way that I interact in a Let's Play. But listening back and editing, I realized it's like, okay, this is something that I need to be aware of, and I wasn't aware it would be as much of a problem as I found it to be. Maybe you haven't found it to be quite as extreme as I do, but just that the performance, it makes it sound like I'm acting, and I guess in a way I am, but the way that I interact with the game was not as good as it could have been, in the same way that I described in that analogy. So, because of how I do things, recording them, I'd say fairly in bulk, a couple episodes at a time, the key to that, and this might be a tool that you can use for yourself, I think, is, okay, if you know you're going to need to record in bulk to fit with your schedule and your life outside of doing this, then go ahead and do that. But on the days when you are uploading these things that you've already done, you're not recording them that day, you've already done them, do something else. Maybe it's another Let's Play that you're just doing a couple minutes of. I'm not saying like, okay, on the day that you're uploading, record another 5. But if you want to, go ahead. Go ahead. If nothing else, do something small. I mean, even if you don't record the Let's Play, maybe just for practice, pick a game, play it, and treat it like a Let's Play. Treat it like practice. If nothing else, I think that would go a long way towards maintaining those creative, sharp-witted, quick-thinking, improvisational skills that really get polished the more you do it. And just it feels so much more seamless than if you just do a bunch, drop it for a while, even if you are uploading consistently, and then jump back into it. You just feel like you're not as sharp as you could be. So yeah, I think the key to that would be either practicing by just pretending to do a Let's Play even though you're not recording, or just do another Let's Play, even if it's just one episode and the only amount of time you can manage with the constraints is 8 minutes. Do that. Go through the process. Finish it, make it, complete it. Maybe you don't upload it right away, but you've got that one stored. So you're adding to that ammunition pile of content while at the same time you're maintaining that mental muscle memory for being able to do a well-rounded Let's Play. And again, I think you can apply that sort of idea to things well outside of playing games and talking over them or YouTube in general. But for the purposes of this idea, that's kind of my theory. I'm going to put it into practice and I'm going to see if it works. Maybe I'll do an update on it a little bit later. Hopefully you found this useful, at the very least interesting. And if you did notice what I was talking about in the first couple episodes of Westerado, let me know. Share some thoughts you might have, or tips, tricks, techniques on how to kind of shake off that rust, or just different ways that you can kind of keep yourself in that sort of mental shape so that you don't run into that problem if, let's say, you can't get towards a spot in your time and day where you can record, or whatever it is you do. You get the idea. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and until next time, my name's Rye. You guys take care of yourselves.